Okay. Now we will resume. And we'll just finish chapter 7. Okay. Oh, and as a reminder, I suppose, as far as currently we are in volume 6. Volume 6 / chapters of the Higurashi series. Which after this, it means there is 2 more proper, and then there's sort of like a bonus. But as far as like all the main plot stuff, it's 2 more. Okay. Helps if you load. I think we're pretty sure we read all the tips. That's right. Yes, we did. So continued as things go completely downhill. It's gonna get rough. It's almost certainly all downhill for Peter. About homing ability and homesickness. You interpret homing ability in a broad sense. You can say that most animals have a homing ability. It's the same thing with humans. We like to sleep, rest, and eat at a place where we feel comfortable. Namely, our homes. Your home is to you what nests are to animals. Therefore, we can say that humans have a homing ability as well. First of all, why do animals need nests? The answer is the same as for humans. Sleeping, resting, and eating are the essential actions for survival. At the same time, those actions leave one defenseless as well. That's why you need a safe area where you can be defenseless. Everybody knows that not having this safe area results in a high level of stress. When you move an animal to a new environment, it naturally becomes stressed. When you force a person to live in a foreign land where they aren't comfortable, they become greatly stressed as well. Everybody knows that this kind of stress is called homesickness. The Japanese don't know much about homesickness. We defined it as a mental weakness, and we neglected to treat it for a long period of time. However, homesickness has a very long history. In Europe's Middle Ages, people believed that it wasn't a mental, but rather a physical disease. People also believed that, out of everyone, the Swiss got the disease the most. The Swiss, you see, were known to be an ethnic group that worked away from home in that era. They lived far away from their homes. There were no telephones at that time, so they couldn't even hear their families' voices for ages and ages. It's easy to imagine that the young Swiss workers got homesick while working in a strange land. These Swiss who got homesick wanted to go home, but they couldn't because of their jobs. Conflict made them weak physically and mentally. Some of them went crazy and tried to escape from their reality by committing suicide or running away. The Swiss at the same time were very superstitious, and many folk remedies and occult-like treatments to prevent homesickness were around. Although, to be fair, superstition is, still singling out the Swiss or any other group for being particularly superstitious is... Listen, it's this thing that's, honestly is still common. It's just normally more It's more tucked away these days, let's face it. And only then in some places. Thank you for the fluid check. Where are we that? Good grief, 70% already the way there. That special stream. Since going home was the only treatment, they must have called it a fatal disease. But it isn't really one, of course. Specifically, homesickness is a sign of that human homing instinct. Your brain desires to go back to your safe area, namely, your home. At first, your brain makes you remember the happy memories of your home, and it urges you to go home in a natural way. But when reason stops you from achieving your desire, your brain starts sending unnatural signals to your body. As a result, your body gets weak, and that makes it more difficult for you to live in a strange land. In the end, you have to bend reason in order to achieve your desire to go home. So homesickness is born from our homing instincts. The stronger one's homing instinct is, the stronger their homesickness. The strength of that homing instinct varies from individual to individual, and depends on the environment in which those individuals live. When your home is safe and the environment you live in is dangerous, your homing instinct grows stronger. On the other hand, the environment you live in is safer than your home. Your homing instinct becomes very weak. Safety isn't the only element that affects its strength. Cultural aspects affect it too. Many customs demanding families to return home for major events varies with each region, so your birthplace's culture also alters the strength of your homing instinct. Amongst those regions, the transcendents of Onagafuchi village were believed to have an excessively strong homing instinct. The people of Onagafuchi forbade their fellows from ever leaving. Many believe this was the effect of the elitism and sense of purity I already mentioned before. People today still strongly believe that Oyashiro-sama puts his curse on you if you break his rule and abandon the village. This superstition can be interpreted as homesickness. If homesickness is directly proportional to one's homing instinct, then the exaggerated expression, curse, would signify the strength of that homesickness and also their homing instinct. I can assume that they hated the outside world and created an insular society precisely because of their powerful homing ability. Unfortunately, there's no way to measure the strength of the homing ability that the primitive people of Onagafuchi had. It was so strongly forbidden to leave the village that nobody left long enough to get homesick. However, after the Meiji era, things changed. The sacredness of Onagafuchi dwindled with the efforts of modernization. Many young people started longing for city life. Some people were forced to leave the village to get a job. As a result, villagers started venturing outside the village borders. That was when the transcendents of Onagafuchi realized how strong their homing ability was for the first time. The residents of Hinamizawa got extremely homesick. After a while, people started to call this homesickness the curse of Oyashiro-sama. It became rumored that a person who left the village to get a job in a strange land was cursed, that he went crazy and died, and people who had left the village started coming back to either it or the nearby town. Their homesickness and their homing ability were very strong because of their culture. It's reasonable to think that these were cultivated by the unique religion in Hinamizawa, namely, the cult of Oyashiro-sama. From the moment they were born, they were taught the rules of Oyashiro. They must have felt guilty about leaving the village unconsciously. As a result, they considered their homesickness to be the curse of Oyashiro-sama. I'm not sure if their homesickness got stronger because of the rules of Oyashiro, or if they made the rules of Oyashiro because their homesickness got stronger. I don't know which came first. Okay, it must have been Takano's notebook. I kind of figured that was probably the She was reading. Which I feel that probably was a clue on for some of the strain Reyno's got, or some of the extra strain, I suppose. The suggesting from the or whatever. I got tired of reading such small print. Lay down on the floor on my back. Anyway, right now we're back to Reynoff because of the not sure what to call this color. The light red. Salmon? I'll say salmon, although it's not really. Anyway. True identity of the curse of Oyashiro is homesickness? Mio believed my story. She let me read these scrapbooks. That's why I expected to find something interesting. What it's saying is that answer to all is homesickness, which many doctors told me so many times at counseling. I'm a little upset. Word homesickness can't explain the extraordinary experience I had. I saw Oyashiro come down to me from a bright light in the bathroom. I saw the dusky red, nasty maggots come out of my blood vessels. This scrapbook doesn't explain any of that. I don't understand how Mio was going to explain the cloud of maggots. Maybe she didn't have any explanation of that to begin with. Is it just a delusion? I flipped through one of the other scrapbooks Mio let me borrow, looking for an explanation of the maggots I saw. Then I found it. It had the exact title I was looking for. About maggots and the curse of Oyashiro-sama. It's gonna get bad, I know. In the Meiji era, a group of villagers were on their way back to Himizawa. They started discussing a rumor about a weird disease. They said that maggots started crawling out of the wounds of a person who left Hinamizawa, and that the maggots ate the person's body from the inside. The Shinto priest of the Furude shrine at the time explained that the weird disease was a sign, the curse of Oyashiro. According to tradition, the Shinto priest showed the villagers an ancient scroll, and he told them that the story of the maggots had been passed down through the ages. This is what the scroll said. The world where the demons came from must be interpreted as the land of death. The demons in that land of death had to live their lives while being eaten by maggots. The villagers who are of the demon's blood had nothing to worry about, as long as they lived in Hinamizawa under the protection of Oyashiro. Once they left Hinamizawa, abandoning that protection, the maggots that had been sleeping in the blood of the demons would start to awaken, and they'd eat their bodies from the inside out. This maggot disease scared the villagers for a while, and they asked the shrine to provide them with protective talismans whenever they had to leave the village on business. This is interesting, as it's similar to the way homesickness was dealt with by the Swiss in the Middle Ages. After the war started, the delusion of the maggot disease faded away, but they remained accustomed to send talismans to families that lived away from Hinamizawa. The talismans had the word maggot on them. But most interesting about all this, that the residents of Hinamizawa don't know about the maggot disease, or didn't know about the maggot disease until the rumors began. I thought that their unconscious worship made these people think of homesickness as a curse. But this case of the previously unknown maggot disease directly contradicted the research I had done so far. It's natural to think that the group of people who were on their way back to the village were lost in a mass delusion because they strongly believed in the curse, and that the Shinto priest took advantage of their state to panic to instill a deeper faith in them. I'm not fully convinced that it was merely a coincidence that this mass delusion matched with the story in the old picture scroll. Have you seen the scroll? Have you dated it? Anyway, as had been demonstrated, Takano is, she's not full tinfoil hat, but I get the vibe. She's very close. I wonder if it's possible to see maggots in a wound without the prerequisite knowledge when a person is cursed by Oishiro. I wish Oishiro-sama would put his curse on someone I could study. I'd love to see those maggots coming out of someone. I felt as if Mio-san was here and making that request of me. Remember, she gave me the scrapbook. She said that I might be the only one who could understand them. I felt good just for a moment, because I found out that the maggots weren't a delusion. But at the same time, it destroyed my excuse that it was a delusion. Not really, it's... The maggots weren't a delusion. They were there. All of a sudden, my wrists, elbow, inner thighs, and neck started itching. I felt the urge to cut open a blood vessel, but I quietly held it down. I remember that Mio-san looked very serious when I talked about the maggots. He must have thought it was creepy. So did I. While I was crying because nobody believed me, part of me didn't want to believe that my body was filled with those creepy things. I think part of me wanted to believe that it was a delusion. Now I know it wasn't. It wasn't a delusion. There are some people who had the same experience. Maggots in the demon's blood will awaken when you lose the protection of Oyashiro-sama. In other words, they may not awaken under the protection of Oyashiro-sama, but all the villagers still have the maggots in them without knowing it. People of the demon's blood are people who have the creepy maggots in their bodies. Tried not to jump to conclusions and flipped the pages again. I unconsciously looked for something related to maggots. About parasites and control of the host. The maggot disease made me think about something. Is it possible to say the extremely strong homesickness of Hinamizawa was an infectious disease caused by some kind of mysterious parasite? Not trying to connect the maggots they saw with parasites, trying to think about the possibility that their culture, their religion, might be associated with an infectious disease. Many infectious diseases are caused unintentionally by parasites. Parasite's host is literally its home. It wants to live within the host body for as long as it can. The best way to do that is to coexist with the host without the host knowing it. Some parasites try to control their hosts and use them for prosperity. For example, some parasites have an ability to control their host in order to force them to be eaten by a superior host. Typical example. Crap baskets. Dicrocolium dendritis. Dendritic. Dendritic. Dendrit. Dicrocolium dendriticum. I'm sure that's wrong, but that's as close as I'm gonna get. It uses snails or ants as intermediate hosts, and it forces them to move to the upper side of vegetation, so that it's easier for a superior host to consume it. One parasite that controls more complicated animals is called Hexoplasma gondii. It uses mice as intermediate hosts, the superior hosts being cats. This parasite makes a mouse lose its fear of cats in order to increase its chance of getting eaten, so that the parasite can live within a cat instead. There are parasites that choose hosts at random. The rabies virus is commonly known for that. It lives and breeds in the brain of a host, and it moves into the host's saliva through the salivary glands. It makes the host extremely aggressive in order to make it... Oh. Raiders! Hello, 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 hello. Welcome on in, Raiders. Thank you so much for the raid, Bits to Tiger. Let me give you a shout out. Hey, hey, hey! Oh, I think... Yes, in your last playing... Okay, we're playing the Isle.
Oh! Give me my baby back ribs.
No! Let's see. Trying to... Oh, isn't that the dinosaur game? That's one of the... That's a dinosaur one. Isn't it? Thank you for the fluid check. Cool. Yeah, but I hope your stream was good. And if you need a lurk or get out, don't worry about it. But to those that are new, I'm Virtually Cobalt. I'm a variety streamer. I play a number of different games. Right now we are continuing with the visual novel series Higurashi. We're actually on the 6th installment of the series, which there are 8 in total, and 1 bonus one. Extra stuff. But yeah, do this as well as some dramatic readings and also occasionally a bit of singing. So, oh, I'm glad you had fun. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Glad your stream was good. Yes. The game's talking about parasites. Hello, Kills. That's what rabies does. Many parasites have a similar ability to control hosts to their benefit. The examples I used above are about parasites that I move into other hosts to prosper. I think there must be some kind of parasite that controls its host in order to have a comfortable environment in which to live. I want to try to connect this theory to the abnormal homing ability and homesickness of the Onagafuchi residents. Let's say there's some kind of parasite that exists in Hinamizawa that lives within all of the villagers' bodies. For the parasite, Hinamizawa is the most comfortable environment to live in. But it gives the host a strong homing ability in order to make them stay in Hinamizawa. Furthermore, it causes the host to get homesick whenever they ignore this homing ability and try to leave. Parasites need hosts in which to live. Convenient for them if their host builds a community in the environment where it feels comfortable. This theory makes it easier for me to explain the mysteries I described earlier. The Transcendents of Onagafuchi knew about the existence of this parasite. They knew that, as hosts of the parasites, they couldn't live outside of the village. That's why they created culture and rules that prohibited contact with the outside world. It also explains why people acted so abnormal during the dam conflict. So, the demons that came out of the swamp in the legend of Oyashiro-sama can be interpreted as the mass spread of the parasite. The story about the demons attacking the villagers must be a metaphor for the behavior of the infected villagers who are controlled by the parasite. This is how I would sum up any time reading Takano's notebooks.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
That's what I think about reading Takano's notebooks. Crazy-ass notebooks. I'm glad you like it. I came across that someone did the green screen of that. I was like, oh my gosh, it's that thing for Billy Madison. It's like, gotta use it. Did say you added it the other day, but I didn't want to. Please. No worries, no worries. And I did alter the balls to Chao or whatever to. But anyway, I think it's a superior version. But anyway, this theory is too crazy. I should have just laughed about it, but I felt bad for Mio-san, so I decided not to. Inamizawa's controlled by a parasite? You use that theory to explain how the maggots came out of me. Oh, no, don't. I felt a little bit dizzy. I was so confused, and a part of me thought it was ridiculous. Another part of me thought it was more convincing than any curse. But Mio-san was probably erased because she wrote these scrapbooks. If so, contents of these scrapbooks must be something that they can't ignore. They tried to get all of her scrapbooks and consign them to oblivion. If they noticed some of her scrapbooks are missing, I felt a chill running through my spine. I have to keep it a secret that I have these scrapbooks. I'll have to try to understand more about their contents. Remember, Mio-san told me that the three families are behind the series of the mysterious deaths, that they're trying to resurrect the cult of Oishiro-sama. According to the theory I just read, Parasite must be trying to maintain the current environment of Hinamizawa. The healthiest environment for it is a completely closed village, just like the primitive Onagafuchi. Must be very comfortable for the parasite if no hosts go outside the village. I don't even like that the villagers often leave the village to go shopping. That means the parasite would try to goad the hosts into resurrecting the cult of Oishiro-sama. I heard there was an article in the scrapbook saying that the demon's blood runs thickest in the three families. That would mean they have a larger amount of the parasite in them than the other villagers, and they're under its control. That's not how parasites work. The three families seem to be planning to bring the village back to the Onagafuchi era. Reviving the Watanagashi festival after the dam conflict can be interpreted as their desire to revive the faith that had started to fade away in the Meiji era. The three families, especially the Sonozaki family, have a great influence over the region and the public organizations. What's going on here? I thought this to be a poorly written theory, but yes, it is. It is a bad theory. It's crazy. Don't. But the pieces fit together one after the... No, they don't. Listen. No one let Reina watch Ancient Aliens, okay? And I feel like Takano would probably end up being like a guest. would make a good guest on that. She'd probably be good at getting her own show on the History Channel, like it for a late night History Channel. Today we're going to be talking about how parasites control the world. I'm sorry, now my brain's just thinking of a number of things. Of stuff she would fit in. You see, the parasites are adding things to the water, which are turning the frogs gay. Oh my gosh. Okay. Felt my brain swirling due to this absurd theory. Yes, it's absurd. Part of me thought it was ridiculous. Yes. Another part of me thought I might be about to expose an unbelievable truth. Ignore that last part of you. Focus on the former that thinks this is idiotic. And I tried to look into the center of it. I felt as if I was going to fall into the whirlpool and drown. I'll have to devote myself to reading more seriously. No. Chunk them in the garbage. Must be some truth to this. No. No, there isn't. Cosmo's fortune had made my life miserable. After I moved to Ibaraki, I might be able to find the truth, including the cause of my parents' divorce and my desperate behavior. Yep, all downhill from here on out. Right then, I heard a knock on the door, all of a sudden scaring me. I hid the scrapbooks under a cushion. Reina, you have a phone call. Phone call? It's late? Who is it? It's from a bookstore. Did you order some books? They said they were Oishi-san from the Okonomiya bookstore. Oh, goody, and now Oishi too. I opened the windows, but all they let in was heat and the cries of the cicadas. It's too hot. It really is. It was break time between classes, but we couldn't really get any rest. Mion and I leaned on our desks, exhausted by the heat. The younger kids sure are tough, considering how the heat wasn't bothering them at all. We were running around the classroom despite the temperature. Do schools in the cities have air conditioning in their classrooms? No, they don't. Only the teacher's office gets to have air conditioning. Wow, that's better than nothing. If I were a student in a school like that, I'd attack the teachers and take over their office. You'd be the first student ever to do that. Even have the energy to laugh. And okay, obviously for that's white text means we've gone back to Keiichi. Mian and I stopped talking and used our notebooks to fan ourselves. I looked at the empty seat nearby. It was Reina's. Reina didn't come to school today. She called and told Chie-sensei she couldn't come because she's sick. Reina seems to be feeling down these days. Yeah. She probably got tired from the heat. Really think that's the reason? Yeah. Why? I think it's the incident. Maybe. Probably both that and the summer heat. I can't even imagine how distressing it was for her to commit a murder, dismember the bodies, and get caught by her friends. But I mean, who hasn't been there, am I right? Ahem. We took each other's hands at that place and we united. All of us believed that we had closed the case there, had regained our peace. But that as easy for Reina as it was for us? She must have not quite recovered yet. This old man thought she'd get over it if she played along with us. But I guess her pain ran deeper than I thought. What should we do? Cheer her up. It's best just to leave her alone, I think. Hey, are you sure about that? We're her friends, you know? Well, it's like homesickness, you know? Get lonely and you want to call home just to hear your mom's voice. That actually makes your homesickness worse. When you're feeling lonely, the best thing to do is to devote yourself to sports, or something like that for a change. I want her to do club activities with us, but she doesn't want to. I don't know about her. People usually have a desire to depend on somebody. Want to depend on somebody who supports you and sympathizes with you. Haven't you ever experienced that feeling? And you can't stop depending on somebody when they try to cheer you up? Well, I don't know. Completely depend on someone means try to earn even deeper sympathy from them. At that point, even though you're trying to comfort them, they just slip further and further into depression. By finding initial success through relying on someone to receive her comfort, and grow addicted to indulging in misfortune. I think Raina knows that too. That's why she wants to be alone right now. She wants to depend on us or get comfort from us. All she'd have to do is stay with us and cry all the time. So how can we cheer her up? I think she'd appreciate more if you tried to help her forget her pain than if you tried to cheer her up. Don't comfort her and don't cheer her up? Nothing I can do, is there? The golden rule for psychologists, you know? Mental trauma can only be healed by the person who has it. Somebody else helps a person out of their mental trauma. Even if they succeeded, that person wouldn't be completely healed. All we can do now is wait till Raina heals on her own. I mean, yes and no. Kind of more, I guess, facilitate and help kind of provide an environment, help a person work through whatever. Then, being an ear, they could talk through stuff. So, kids, don't get your degree from get your psychology degree from DeVry. But effectively, what you are suggesting, Mion, is that, you know, Keiichi should not go to Rin and be like, lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, or it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. I understand the idea, but I just don't like how cold it sounds. Passed my hands behind the back of my head, looking at the ceiling. Mion laughed. Rain will be fine as long as she has someone like you to worry about her. I'm sure she can pull herself together. So all I need to do is to be close to her? I don't know about that. There is something you can do, Keiichi. Rika-chan spoke up. Wonder how long she'd been listening to our conversation. Rika's always listening. Always. What is it? You can listen to her when she wants to talk to somebody. Oh, see, good, Rika. Is that all? Just listen and I don't need to make her feel better? Hey, Chan, people feel better just by talking to somebody. Sometimes all they need is someone who does nothing but listen quietly. Just like me said. I think it's important for us as her friends. Be there for her whenever she wants to talk to somebody. Mio and Enrique-chan were absolutely right. I was going to pat Reina on her shoulder and tell her to cheer up when I saw her next, but... Yeah, don't do that. I will bonk you on the head if you do that, Keiichi. Oh, I know that would have been one-sided on my part. Reina doesn't want to feel down herself. Wants to cheer her up if at all possible. I cheered her up irresponsibly. She'd be very disappointed, because she'd think I didn't understand her pain. You're right. Guess I wasn't even trying to understand how she felt. I wanted to cheer her up, but I now know that's just what I want to do, not what she wants to do. Thanks, you two. I think I finally understand. And that day, I thought I cheered her up. I sorted out if I had reached her heart. I might have just been dragging her someplace where I wanted her to go. I wasn't on her side in the real sense of the term. All of a sudden, Rika-chan patted my head. Don't worry. We all know that you're on her side. What? Did I say something out loud again? It did reach her heart. Kei-chan, you really did give her great strength on that day. Well, now that I think about it, what you said on that day was more than a little theatrical. We heard footsteps from the hallway, and everybody started to head back to their desks. Take your seats, everyone. President, if you would. All rise. We didn't have a club meeting that day because Reina wasn't around. That worked out for me, because I had an errand to run. It wasn't a big errand. My mom wanted me to use her point card to get some detergent. I didn't see the point of going all the way to the store just to get detergent. My mom told me to go because she's busy helping my dad with his work. I started walking towards the shopping center. I noticed someone was watching me, hiding behind a distant tree. I always feel like somebody's watching me. I wonder who would do such a mischievous thing. I stared at them to find out who it was, at which point they emerged. Oh, Reina. Oh, it's not the Spanish Inquisition? I mean, I wouldn't have expected that, but then, that would mean it. Although, if I did suggest that it was, then it meant I expected them, which then means it could not be the Spanish Inquisition, because nobody suspects the Spanish Inquisition. That was a dumb joke that was just needlessly confusing. I apologize. I just made my own brain hurt with that. My goodness. Are you feeling better now? I was about to say that, but I swallowed the words. Somehow, Reina looked very serious. She's super serial, guys. What's going on? Shh. Reina put her index finger to her lips, told me to be quiet, looked around carefully and beckoned for me to come over. I had no idea what was going on, but I followed her instructions, shut my mouth, and ran to her. Reina gestured for me to squat down to hide in the shadow of the bush. I didn't know why I had to do that, but I could ask her the question later. I just followed her orders for now. Reina looked like she was making sure no one was following her. If it was Mion, she'd do something like this just to fool me as a joke. But I know Reina doesn't do things like this for fun. I had no idea what kind of situation I had gotten myself into, but I could feel how tense it was, and I made myself as small as I could. Good. It's okay now. I'm sorry. The tone of her voice made me relax a little. Ugh. What's going on? I think someone has been following me. What? Who would follow her? When I thought about it, I realized how stupid the question was. Is it the police? Reina Mia and Tepe Haojo. 2 people disappeared. Even though they were awful human beings, the police had to investigate if they found out that they'd gone missing. It probably wouldn't be difficult to find out that Reina had often been to Reina's house. But it should be okay. As long as they don't find those bags, it should be okay. I don't know if it's the police or not, but I feel like someone has been watching me since the night of Watanagashi. What do you mean? Once I asked that question, Reina stared directly at me with a blank expression. Her eyes looked as though they were evaluating me. She stared at me as if she was assessing whether I was worth talking to about something very important. Reina squeezed her own wrist tightly, then started talking in a whisper. I can tell you what's going on. Can you keep it a secret? Yeah, of course I can. Want me to keep it secret? I won't tell anybody. Okay. I trust you. She smiled and looked around one more time. They might be looking for Mio-san's scrapbooks. Mio-san? Oh, the nurse, Takano-san. What about her scrapbooks? The police are keeping the investigation under wraps. I'm sure you don't know. Mio Takano was murdered. What? What? When? She told me to be quiet again. I lowered my voice and let her continue. On the night of the Watanagashi, we met Mio and Tomitake, didn't we? They were attacked right after that. Tomitake was cursed by Oishiro, clawed out his throat and died. Mio was burned to death in the mountains of the Gifu prefecture. Is that true? Nobody told me about that. I know. That's because the police haven't disclosed their investigation. These cases make the 5th of the series of mysterious deaths, so the police have decided not to go public yet. I see. I understand why the police are keeping quiet about it, but then, did you hear this? You keep it a secret? I've been in contact with the Wishi-san. He's a detective from the Okonomiya Police Department. He told me about the case. Why did he tell you? I don't know. He said he told me because he could trust me. I was dumbfounded to hear all this. But I knew she wasn't lying. If it was Mion, she'd be sticking her tongue out by now. But Reina wouldn't make a joke out of something like this. I think the reason why Mio-san was murdered is because of her research. Do you know that she was doing ethnological research by studying the history of this village? I've heard something along those lines. Takano-san was interested in the occult and in mysterious things. I remember Mion once told me that she was studying the village legends of man-eating demons out of curiosity. I think she discovered a very important secret about this village through her studies. Or maybe she wasn't even close to the truth, But they thought she was. Wait a second. What's the secret of this village you're talking about? Hold on a sec. I think they've increased the amount of chlorine in the water in my area nearby. I know it's a weird thing to do. Listen, when you keep fish, you pay attention to stuff like that. Just read a few of her scrapbooks. But those were the ones that she was handling with extra caution. So I think there were pretty important things written in them. I think I know about 80% what Mio-san was trying to uncover. But it's true. It's almost too crazy to believe. Right now I'm trying to find out whether Mio-san's theory is right or not. So, what is it? What is the secret of this village? What could be so important that you might get killed just by knowing about it? I guess the moment those words left my mouth. If Reina told me I might get killed too. The secret is... underpants gnomes are stealing everyone's underpants. I'm sorry, I don't know why I found that amusing. Okay, anyway. Just him. I don't know. I don't want to tell you yet. I promise I will once I verify things. Because it's really crazy. Too crazy to be true. I mean, how crazy is it? Is it so crazy that you're going off the rails at a crazy train? Da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, what do you mean you have to verify things? For example, I myself serves verification that the magnecies can occur without any background knowledge. But for a lot of things I still need to verify. You could have heard or come across something before you, like, that you don't remember, like as a little kid or whatever. Because kids can pick up on all sorts of stuff that they don't even, like, remember or whatever. It's just... and it sorts... you know? Like, just kind of almost through osmosis. Someone says something in passing, or... they overhear something. When they asked about it, it's like, I don't know, I just know it. Which, to be fair, I mean, it's easy to forget where you necessarily heard something and stuff like that. Anyway. They sound too crazy to be true. And I can hardly believe them if I don't verify that they are. Maggots. I was totally lost now. I wanted to ask her some questions, but I decided not to cut in. It's so hot outside. Reina held her arm as if she was cold. Reina, always on your side. You can trust me. Thank you. I really appreciate it. From her expression alone, I could tell that she really meant it. I could also tell that she was involved in something very big. That she felt lonely because she couldn't tell anybody else about it. I had to be on her side while she was going through a difficult time. You shouldn't tell anybody that you met me here today. They might try to hurt you if they found out. Oh, okay. Is there anything I can do to help? Not right now. But it's very reassuring that I can ask you for help when I need it. I'll depend on you someday. Yeah, anytime. Shh, car's coming. Reina pushed my head into the bush. I hate where my brain went with that. If you're confused, I'm not going to explain, because that's on me. Hold on, I'll see this myself.
You don't want to be like this. This is disgusting. This is awful in every way. If I could kill it, I would. But I legally can't. But I've considered it.
Okay. Thank you, Markiplier. I went along with it and crouched down even lower in the bushes. I stayed quiet for a while. I could hear a car coming closer, and after a while a white van passed by. Surprised at her hearing. She heard the car coming when it was still far off in the distance. Did you see its license plate number? What? No, I'm sorry. I didn't. His head was too far into the... Anyway. I didn't either. I think it's the same car I saw either. Are they the ones following you? I think so. Passed by me many times today on the street, where nobody usually drives. I hit every time, but it's strange. Are they the ones? Are they the ones who killed Takano and Tomitake? Are they looking for the scrapbooks you have? Most likely, yes. I don't blame her for not being able to believe what's going on, because this is really crazy. Kano uncovered something really significant through her studies. People who want that information hidden found out about it, and they killed her on the night of Watanagashi, copying the curse of Oyashiro-sama. They're looking for the scrapbooks, fruits of her research, and Reina has them. That's why they're trying to kill Reina? What about your house? It's safe there. I hid the scrapbooks in my secret hideout at the garbage dump. I'm worried about my father, but he'll be fine because he really doesn't know anything. Haha, it's written on your face, Keiichi-kun. Says I can't believe it, because it sounds too crazy to be true, am I right? I want to deny it, but I felt bad to lie. I remained silent in the affirmative. Well, that's a normal reaction. I couldn't believe any of it when I first read the scrapbook. Finally started seeing the connections after reading all of them. I'm sorry. I do want to help you. I just don't know how. I don't see the whole picture of what's going on. I tell you, it might put you in danger. You're already in danger, right? I don't mind. Don't worry about me. Okay, I'll tell you then. Probably the three families who killed Mio-san and Tomitake-san. Be more specific. The Sonozaki family. Mii-chan's family. Why? You know about the series of mysterious deaths, right? Of course. Traitors at the dam conflict die every year, right? The series of mysterious deaths is like resolution of the dam conflict. But trying to win the dam conflict in the true sense of the word by erasing people betrayed the village. Oh, we have no music. It does look that way. Nobody really says it out loud, but everyone is suspicious that the Sonozaki family is behind it. That's what I've heard. But if they really want to... Okay, it's Keiichi that's... But if they really wanted to erase the traitors, they wouldn't have to do it on the night of Watchnagashi. Why don't they kill them all at once instead of killing them one by one using the curse and demoning them away every year? Wouldn't that make more sense? I've never heard the words demoning away before, but Reina clearly thought they have some kind of creepy, significant meaning. I decided not to cut in. Oh, nope, it was Reina. That means they're using the series of mysterious deaths in order to resurrect the sacredness of the Watanagashi festival. Step by step, reviving the sacred nature of Onagafuchi that was lost in the Meiji era. Their goal is to revive the level of belief in Oyashiro-sama that used to exist in primitive times. Oops. Sorry, I bunked the mic. I didn't burst with eardrops, sorry. Sorry. Belief in Oyashiro-sama? You talking about the Furude Shrine? Yes. You think people revere the Furude Shrine now? Elder people respect the shrine, but that's it. Kids think of it as a place to play. Most of the villagers think of it as a place to gather for local events. Its sacredness has been lost. The dam conflict it started to revive, and they took it as a good opportunity to bring back the cult of Oyashiro-sama. So you're saying that some fanatical Oyashiro-sama worshippers are behind all this? That's what I'm saying. The cult of Oyashiro-sama was managed by the three families to begin with. The three families passed down their ultimate goal of reviving the cult of Oyashiro-sama down to the present generation. When you think about it, you'll understand why the three families took the initiative in uniting the villagers during the dam conflict, and why they set up the Onagafuchi Guardian's office in the Furude Shrine, citing Oyashiro-sama, who was almost forgotten at the time. So, the three families, fanatical Oyashiro-sama worshippers orchestrated a series of the mysterious deaths of Hinamizawa. But, wait, why would they kill Takano-san? Because she discovered the important secret of the village. The three families have been hiding it since the era of Onagafuchi. If that secret is revealed, the sacredness of Oyashiro-sama will be lost. They found out Mio-san was getting close to the secret, and that's why they killed her. What's this important secret? Don't care if I put myself in danger. I need to know. I don't want to tell you yet. Don't want to tell you until I'm 100% sure about it. I'm pretty sure that right now, you just laugh. Hey, do you think I'm that kind of guy? Just need a little more time. I can't accept the truth myself because it sounds so impossible. So I need some time. Please. I understand. Don't tell anybody about what we talked about today. Not even Mi-chan, Rika-chan, or Satoko-chan. Okay. Well, you should go now. I'll take a look around for a while before I go home. I can't be too careful anymore. Reina ducked low in the bushes and moved away. I was left alone there. The cries of the cicadas surrounded me, making it seem as if I was alone there the whole time. I started walking, still dumbfounded. In the end, Reina didn't tell me the secret because she was afraid of putting me in danger. But she told me clearly that there are people who want to resurrect the cult of Oyashiro-sama, and that they're among the three families that control the entire village. They orchestrated the series of mysterious deaths for that purpose, and they killed Takano-san because she got too close to the secret they wanted to hide. Reina met Takano-san and happened to obtain the scrapbooks in which Takano-san wrote about her research. Reina still can't believe the secret written in the scrapbooks, because it's just too crazy. Hey, come on, Reina. Kidding me, right? Like one of those comic book stories. Mysterious occult group is plotting a conspiracy? I mean, it's not funny even if it's a joke. But Reina is right about one thing. Even if this is true, it's really hard to believe. Understand why Reina wanted to wait to tell me the secret. Maybe she was just fooled by Takano-san. But Takano-san was murdered for real. So, is it also true that someone is following Reina, looking for the scrapbooks? Remember, Reina said that a white van was following her. You can see white vans everywhere, anywhere. I bet there are a lot in this village alone. You might just be oversensitive to everything right now. Reina hasn't recovered from the shock since that day. That's probably why she got the idea in her head that the police or someone else is coming after her. I didn't cut in while she was talking. I think I did the right thing. If I had said that it was ridiculous or something to her face, Reina wouldn't have trusted me ever again. At that point, however, I gasped. A white van was parked on the side of the street. I wasn't sure if this was the same car that passed by earlier since I didn't see the plate number. But the number of the people in the car and the ambience of it was similar to the one earlier. There's one other thing that looks suspicious about it. There was no reason to park here. It's on a small road in the middle of the woods. Nothing around here. No traffic lights, no vending machines, and no public phones. I probably wouldn't notice it under ordinary circumstances, but I felt something was wrong. Once I noticed how odd it was definitely suspicious. There were 4 men in work uniforms in the white van. The driver was smoking a cigarette. The other men were just sitting there, doing nothing. They wanted to take a break or have a smoke. They could have chosen a better place than here. It was possible that they stopped because they had to go to the bathroom really bad. It didn't seem that way either. They didn't look as comfortable or relaxed like they would if they were taking a break. It looked like they were waiting for something to happen. There was a tension deep in that car. They possibly be waiting for Reina? No way. Can't see anybody walking around here. This road is a back road. Nobody really uses this road, or let alone by car. Impossible. Felt bad for Reina to even think about it. But this must be something that she got into her head, because she's feeling victimized or something. She must be imagining things because she's still nervous from when her friends caught her in the act of killing Rina and Tepe. A young man. Someone say that when I passed by the van. Couldn't be me. Didn't even know who I was. So I assumed he was talking to one of the other people in the car. I pretended I didn't hear him and I kept walking by. Then he said it again, and honked the horn as well. "Hey, young man, excuse me. You on your way home from school?" He had a strong accent similar to that of the older villagers. He must live here, but I didn't know him. I could tell he didn't know me either, because he didn't call me by name. "Yes, I am." "Been walking on this road all the way from school, right? Turn the corner where the stationery store is, right?" "Yes." "So?" Probably lost, I thought. Village has many small turns and you can easily get lost when you try to take a shortcut. They must have been waiting for someone to ask for directions. But then he said something disturbing. "Young man, didn't you see a girl on the way here?" What? A girl with a white hat and white clothes. A purple ribbon on it. Did you see her?" "We're definitely talking about Reina." No, I didn't. Wasn't ready to hear them ask that. Rather, I was scared. That's why my voice got all shaky. Up until that point, I couldn't believe Reina's story. I thought it was ridiculous. I actually laughed, if only to myself. That's why I wasn't ready at all. My heart was beating fast and I was sweating all over. I immediately answered no, I didn't, but might have sounded like an obvious lie. The driver stared into my eyes. He looked like he was trying to figure out if I was lying or not, and my legs started to shake. I felt like a frog under the glare of a snake, and I couldn't move a muscle for a while. But I think the same went for those men, too. They were clearly a suspicious group. They had just asked a villager about a girl out of the blue. Anybody would get suspicious. I was right. The man broke the ice and started making excuses before I even asked why he wanted to know about the girl. Well, I was asking for no particular reason. We just passed by a girl earlier, but you're a boy, so we were just wondering. Oh, okay. Please forget it. Sorry for the trouble, young man. We're off. The man started the engine and drove away. After they left, I saw nothing. That's right, nothing. There was no reason why they had to park here. So, did they really? Waiting for Reina? You have received new tips. Lunch takeout list, too. Let me guess. Another poorly placed list from those responsibly placed lists from the shrinks. Yep. They're talking, this is about Rain or whatever. Furthermore, it's important that we closely monitor her father. Since he has also suffered mental shock from the divorce, he's been trying hard to take care of the patient. There's a strong possibility that he may develop an induced delusional disorder. As the first step of mental care, one should listen to the patient's story carefully without denying it. It's the most basic of basics. However, the patient and the listener are related. It's easier for the listener to become deeply influenced by the patient's delusions. Delusional parasitosis is widely known to make people highly impressionable, and the influence sometimes can spread through a whole community. Therefore, even if several people claim to acquire a parasitic infection, it doesn't necessarily prove the existence of a parasite. Some of the phone calls to the healthcare centers for the extermination of pests are nothing but a mass delusion. Since the subject matter of the delusion in this case is extremely rabid, patients might harm or even kill each other in abnormal ways, believing this to be the treatment for the disease. They might also give up hope and commit suicide together in the worst case. This influential delusional disorder, otherwise known as shared psychotic disorder, shows a particularly strong possibility of influencing close companions. Anyone who is going to contact the patients must be made to understand that the patients are under medical treatment, must be warned not to be influenced by the patient's delusions. Individuals who are likely to be easily influenced, the patient's family members, and people who deeply care about the patients, such as boyfriends or girlfriends. Okay, so that's the... Hello, Foxglove. If you're to catch you up, because of Takano-san's notebooks, Reina thinks there's a conspiracy, and that's out for her, and that everyone in the village has worms. You somehow think you might... And thank you for the fluid check. You may think I would be kidding, but, you would be wrong if you thought so. I should apologize, Reina. Don't think I believed you. I'm really sorry about that. Okay, Kichi-kun. Just glad we didn't get caught. Who are they? Are they pawns of those religious fanatics who are trying to revive the cult of Oyashiro-sama? I think they don't realize that they're pawns, but I'm sure the masterminds are using them as such. They must be the ones who have been pulling strings behind the scenes ever since the dam conflict. I heard that people working for the Sonozaki family did something similar during the dam conflict itself. Yep, that's basically for a few paragraphs now. Yes, everyone knows that. Muichi-san told me that. Kidnapping incident during the dam conflict. The case has been disclosed to the public. But anyway, someone kidnapped the grandson of the Minister of Construction and coerced the minister into promising to put a halt to the dam construction. Grandson of the minister was kidnapped? Hey, I've never heard any about that before. The minister submitted to their demands. They made a deal behind the scenes. That's why the incident never went public. Muichi-san only knows about it because he was in charge of the case. Huh. Okay. And according to Muichi-san, between kidnapping the minister's grandson and blackmailing him, their tactics were frighteningly advanced. The police know that the Sonozaki family gave orders to the kidnappers, but the case still remains unsolved. That time, the head of the Sonozaki family, Oryou, had announced a plan to fight against the dam project by force. She even formed a special attack corps using the Yakuza group that's under the Sonozaki family's command. She was very serious about this plan to put the Ministry of Construction down by brute force. She couldn't stop the construction. Everybody knows that the Sonozaki family had tried to stop the dam contract, even if it meant breaking the law, breaking the law, breaking the law, breaking the law, breaking the dam. I wasn't surprised to hear that she had a dangerous plan like that. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if it was Mion who came up with the idea. The plan sounded just like her. In the end, the plan ended up as nothing more than that. The Special Attack Corps actually did undergo training, and very high-level training at that. Oishi had uncovered the information right after the dam conflict ended. At the time, Oryou even said that if the village was going to be submerged, all members of the Onagafuchi Guardians would choose to stay in their houses and drown. But because Oryou was behind those things, they couldn't just laugh off the idea of an armed assault on the Ministry of Construction. According to the information Oishi seized, he planned a suicide mission as a last resort when the dam conflict started to heat up, in case their resistance wasn't successful. He had actually obtained weapons and put people through training for the sake of that plan. The Special Attack Corps was flown to America, having received a huge amount of money from Oryou for the operation. In the southern desert of the United States, some retired military soldiers gave them highly professional training. The plan was never carried out. The Special Attack Corps became a death squad under the direct control of Oryou after they came back from America. They were involved in many unsolved terrorist incidents. They succeeded in kidnapping the grandson of the minister as well. It sounds like it's from a movie or something. Remember how Mi-chan said that she could do anything, from flying helicopters to using wireless radios? It's actually all true. Seems like Mi-chan joined in their training. I feel like I shouldn't be surprised at that at this point. Still somewhat is, but honestly it shouldn't be at this point. So that was all true? So Mion is John Wick. Understood. Let's put that aside for now. Anyway. Let's put that aside for now. Anyway, you have to at least believe that the Death Squad actually exists in Hinamizawa. They're capable of kidnapping the grandson of a government minister. I didn't take a close look at the 4 men in the white van today, but thinking about it, they did look professional in a way. They were pretending to be just taking a break, but I could tell they were tense the whole time. So, are they really trying to kill you? I don't think so. If they really wanted to kill me, I'd be dead already. So what do they want? Are they after Kano-san's scrapbooks? Like you saw yourself, the group is very cautious. Unless we show them an opening, they won't resort to force. If they were the type to use force outright, they could have attacked me in my sleep. They haven't done that yet, so that must mean they're taking it cautiously. They're probably not sure that I have the scrapbooks. They killed Mio-san and tried to dispose of them, but they found out the most important ones were missing. They thought she gave them to someone because she knew her life was in danger. Now they think I'm the one who has them. But they're not sure, so they can't resort to violence. Reina, it sounds like you're playing a dangerous game. Yeah. It's even more dangerous than Uno. I'm scared. They won't be able to erase me so easily. After all, I'm cooperating with Oishi-san. I've been frequently contacting him in case something happens. What did he say about them? He said he'd keep an eye on the Sonozaki family so that he could catch them right away if they were working behind the scenes. Did you tell him about the scrapbooks? No. I didn't. I think you should. He's an officer. I'm sure the police will help you. Ichi-kun, I can't even tell you the secret of this village, because I'm not sure you would believe me. I don't think Oishi-san would believe me if I told him any of this. Reina, let's not make it more confusing than it already is. Just tell me. Hold on a second. What is it? What's written in the scrapbooks? What's the secret that killed Mio-san? Simply put, the scrapbooks are true. The god they worship will be dethroned. Their god? Dethroned? Yes. The sanctity of Oyashiro-sama will be lost. That's why they want to conceal the truth. They want to resurrect people's belief in Oyashiro-sama. Sorry, I had to take some pills. Okay. Reina, can you explain it a little more simply than that? I'm confused. In other words, Oyashiro-sama isn't God. He isn't? I had no idea what she read that made her so certain. But whatever it was, it'd be sacrilegious for people who believe so strongly in Oyashiro-sama. There are many teachings of Oyashiro-sama, but the essence is as follows. Don't leave the village. Don't let anybody into the village. He'd even say the rest of his teachings were developed to maintain those two fundamentals. It really wasn't until later on that they added aspects like love your neighbor, or viewing him as a god of marriage and domestic prosperity. In other words, Oishiro-sama existed solely to stop the villagers from going outside the village. Oishiro-sama doesn't bless the villagers or protect them from disasters. People believe that Oishiro-sama did all that for them, but the truth is that the people abused his name for that purpose, generation after generation, and nothing more than that. Why did Oishiro-sama descend in the first place? Because demons came out of Onagafuchi Swamp and attacked people. In fact, it was the wrong interpretation. Demons didn't come out of the swamp and attack people. People became demons and attacked others. They were possessed by whatever came out of the swamp. Whatever came out of the swamp? You mean by that? Whatever came out of the swamp possessed people, crawled into their blood, controlled them and turned them into demons. People had no resistance against whatever it was that came out of the swamp. They became demons, attacked the other villagers, and turned them into demons as well. Right, it was a weird infectious disease that broke out from the swamp. It made the infected people go out of control. The villagers saw this disaster and explained it like so. Evil demons came from the bottom of the swamp, possessed people and turned them into demons as well. That is the truth of the story of the demons that came out of Onagafuchi Swamp. It actually explains the legend. Was Oishiro-sama a doctor who came from a foreign country? Yes. Not exactly correct. He was something like that. He came to Onagafuchi and he treated the infectious disease, but he couldn't cure it for good. All this treatment could do was reduce the symptoms of the infection. Villagers could have their symptoms suppressed. There was no way to kill the parasites that infested them. For a while, the village was divided into two groups. One group was made of people who were already infected, and the other consisted of people who weren't. Without a cure for the disease, the uninfected looked down on the people who could only suppress their violent symptoms. They even talked about drowning them in the swamp, but they knew killing the infected people wouldn't solve the problem. Parasites came out of their water sources, polluting Onagafuchi Swamp. Couldn't fill them all in, for if they did that, they would lose their access to drinking water. They could have chosen to leave the village. That was hard for them, for that was the location of their ancestors' graves. Under the power of Oishiro-sama, infected people could live without showing symptoms. Both those who were infected and those who weren't decided to live together equally and to coexist with the parasite. Oishiro-sama was impressed by the villagers' decision. He decided to stay there and continue to treat them. That's the true identity of Oishiro-sama, the benefactor who stayed in the village to protect the lives of both human and demon. That's right, Oishiro-sama made rules in order to ensure the symptoms of the infected people would remain suppressed. The rules were to never leave the village and to never let anybody into the village. I understand why he wouldn't want to let anybody new into the village. It wasn't to prevent the parasite from infecting anyone else. But I understand why he didn't want people to leave. It seems like the parasite can only live in Hinamizawa because of the climate here. It causes an outbreak of the symptoms in order to prevent the host from leaving the village when they try. That reaction is the truth behind the curse of Oishiro-sama. The strongest symptoms of the infectious disease were violence and delirium. The infected people acted just like demons. The impact of seeing them in the throes of the disease was strong enough to make others describe them as such. They couldn't even let people leave who had just come to the village. If they had left after being infected, they might go crazy in a faraway land, turn into a vicious demon, and cause a disaster. Infected people were never allowed to leave. When an infected person left the village, they brought him back by any means necessary. That was what it really meant to be demoned away. Wait a second, Reina. That means everybody in this village, including you and I, are infected. But nothing happens when we leave Hinamizawa. In fact, any villagers move far away after getting married or something. Never heard of any villager who went crazy and turned into demons after they left Hinamizawa. You're right. Does things when as Oyashiro-sama said that they would. Do you understand? He isolated the village for a long time in order to weaken the power of the parasite. Hosts are very important for parasites. If something happens to the host, the parasites that live in the host have to share the same fate. In other words, if the host went crazy and attacked people, the host would be captured and killed, which means that the parasites would die with the host too. See, talking about natural selection. Good thinking, Keiichi-kun. That's exactly right. Result of living in this village under such strict rules for a long time. People who were hypersensitive to the parasite went crazy and got killed. Strong parasites that made the infected people go crazy were also killed off due to the host's violent behaviors. As a result, only the parasites that acted nice to people lived on. That's the explanation behind the mix of human and demon blood that's written in the legend of Oyashiro-sama. So, that means the parasite is almost harmless now. Yes, according to Mio-san's scrapbooks, there are actually many people who are infected by harmless parasites. It depends on the local food culture. For example, about 8% of the people who live in a country where meat is a staple food are infected by parasites. Because the parasites coexist with humans without doing any harm to them, nobody notices them, treats them. That's actually, I don't know if that, but honestly, that's actually, it surprises me or whatever, because, I'm pretty sure I heard something for that. Wait, hold on. Hold on, now I have to look that up. Okay, hold on. Let's see. What would be a quick way of typing that? Just, most people have parasites. Okay, hold on. Let's see. It is estimated around 80% of both adults and children have parasites in their gut. Well, that's fun. Let's see. Up to 100 different species of parasites can nest in one person at a time. Oh wait, isn't there... Some parasites adapt so well that humans do not feel their presence of them at all. So despite strictly following the rules of personal hygiene, drinking only boiled water, washing fruits regularly, and not eating raw food such as meat, fish, fruits, or veggies, there is still a possibility of getting some type of parasites each day. Oh wait, does that mean... Okay. Apparently a lot of them just showed, like, really common stuff or whatever. Well, that's fun. We are now all blessed with this cursed knowledge. Thank you, game. I needed to know that. I see. In olden times, Watanagashi was called Harawatanagashi, Harawata meaning guts. Hi, Lock and Load. We just all learned that 80% of humans all have parasites. Majority of, or at least the majority of humans anyway, have parasites. Just most of them you don't even know. And that's even with all, like, taking all the precautions that you're supposed to do, even out to washing vegetables and yada yada. It is said the people back then used to eat the guts of infected people who went crazy. Sounds awful. It was something they had to do. Eating the infected people. Talking about a vaccine? Very smart, Keiichi-kun. Son also interpreted it just like you did. Legend says people cut open and ate the infected ones alive. It actually wasn't anything gross like that. They did it in a scientific way. Created a vaccine from the infected people who died from the extremely strong parasites. That helped the uninfected villagers boost their immune system. I don't think that works like that, or just... Citation needed. Who was Oyashiro-sama? A scientist? Must have been from a very advanced country. Was he German? Is the true identity of Oyashiro-sama a foreign doctor who survived a shipwreck? I think that'd be the most likely answer. He wasn't German, but he was a doctor of some sort. Kind of interesting to reveal the truth behind old legends. I don't think that his story is too crazy to be true anymore. Still sounds crazy, of course, but I've never heard any theories that explain the legend of this village better than this one. I'm infected by the parasite too, right? I feel itchy all over now. A person is like a universe. We have countless numbers of bacteria in our bodies. Some of those bacteria are essential to us staying alive. Oh, like bacteria in yogurt, right? I see. This is also what Mio-san wrote in her scrapbooks. You know termites, right? They eat wood. They actually can't digest it themselves. They have unique bacteria that decomposes the wood fibers. As a result, termites can absorb what they eat. That's just one example of a species coexisting with parasites. Didn't know that. When I heard the word parasites, I felt creeped out and almost instinctively. Now I know some of them aren't so bad to us. So, the weird infectious disease that broke out from Onagafuchi Swamp has been exterminated by now. I shouldn't say exterminated. Say it's harmless now. Oh wait, it was Raina that said that one. That was a crazy story at first. Now I feel like I just saw the trick behind some crazy kind of magic. Interesting. It is to us. For the cult of Oyashiro-sama, this must be a very annoying theory. Of course. Kano's theory is correct. Oyashiro-sama isn't a god. The punishment by that god, namely the curse of Oyashiro-sama that people have been so afraid of, will turn out to have just been the symptoms of an infectious disease. See, that's what dethroning God would mean. So if the pathogen of this infectious disease was just identified and announced to the public, power of Oyashiro-sama would be completely lost. That's right. That's what they're afraid of. Mio-san was going to identify the pathogen, and for that, she was killed. That must mean she identified it. She did. She's gone and she didn't say anything about that in her scrapbooks. The only reason I can think of, though. But it's the end of the 20th century. I'm sure the villagers have been examined by a lot of different medical institutions by now, right? I've never heard about anyone discovering a weird parasite like that. I know. True that the pathogen hasn't been found yet. In fact, there is evidence that there is some kind of parasite involved. What? Really? When a parasite enters a human body, that's body's immune cells. The eosinophils and macrophages try to kill the parasite. They secrete an antibody called immunoglobulin E. The most common way of checking if a person is infected by a pathogen is to look at the levels of this secretion. According to Kano's research, people from Himizawa have a very high level of IgE in their blood. That's not all. They also have obvious symptoms of being infected by parasites. They don't have any allergies. IgE stimulates fat mast cells and they secrete histamines and serotonin as a result. These cause an allergic reaction. The allergic reaction isn't pleasant for humans, but it's necessary for the body to kill the pathogen. But the parasites don't want to be killed, of course, so they secrete substances that counteract IgE. As a result, IgE stops stimulating the receptors of the mast cells, which stop secreting the chemical compound. As a result, the antigen-antibody reaction, namely, the allergic reaction, doesn't occur. In other words, a human body that was infected by a parasite secretes a high level of IgE, but doesn't display allergic reactions. For your information, a human body that's infected by a parasite doesn't suffer from hay fever. You get hay fever due to your body secreting a large amount of IgE because it's mistaken pollen for a parasitic invasion. As a result, a large amount of stimulants like histamines will be secreted, but your body can't contain the parasite that it's attempting to kill. That's why your body continues to secrete IgE. That someone took my position in the gifted subs. Yes, Foxglove was a very generous being. That got us to 100 subs. So I still actually need to plan to do a movie. I've got the movies picked out. I need to pick a specific day to do those on. Maybe do Wednesday. Anyway. Also, before I forget, we are still doing the clip contest. So, and you can submit as many clips as you want them. Just it can either be of the clip contest was going through. The last day to submit stuff will be the 30th, so before the 1st. Because on the 1st of May, I'll be picking a winner. But and as many clips as you want. Just you can either make a clip for any existing stream that I still have the VOD that are of course still up on the VODs, or or obviously like this one, current live ones, or any future ones, or whatever, that any ones that leave you open to be able to get in a clip for May the 1st. But yeah, just submit those in the Discord at Kobold Clips, or you can message me or whatever on Twitter. And the winner will get a PC copy of Death Stranding, director's cut. And if the winner does not want it, they can gift it to a person of their choosing, or just a friend of theirs or another contestant or something like that. Okay, something about allergies. Okay, whatever. Your body continues to secrete IgE. As a result, the stimulants keep causing allergic reactions. That's how hay fever works. If you have a parasite in your body, it'll deactivate your IgE and suppress the secretion of stimulants. As a result, you don't have an allergic reaction. In other words, there's no hay fever in Himizawa. You can cure your hay fever by moving here. We haven't been able to identify the pathogen, but there's no question about its existence. Yes, that's right. That's true. Scrapbooks are a big threat to the believers in Oyashiro-sama. They don't identify the pathogen, but they clearly prove its existence. Yeah, it poses a big enough danger to them to make them think it's worth killing Mio-san. This really is a scary secret. I believe it because you took the time to explain it to me. If he had skipped the details and told me only the conclusion, it really would have sounded too crazy to believe. I told you, I couldn't believe it at first either, so I thought you definitely wouldn't. Oh, what's more important right now is that there's a dangerous organization acting in the shadows to try and cover up the truth, right? Yes. That's the most important thing. Fanatics who want to revive the sanctity of the god they worship. Reviving the majesty of their god means reviving the power of that god. The power of their god is the infectious disease. This infectious disease can't spread nationwide, unlike other infectious diseases. So from now on, I'm going to start calling it an endemic disease. That fits better, as it only affects this region. Anyway, the endemic disease of current-day Hinazawa is different from the one of old times. It's been through a process of natural selection and it's harmless now. In other words, it doesn't do any harm to human bodies. That harm was once interpreted as a curse. A curse is the power of a god, so a harmless endemic disease means that the god is powerless. The only way to regain the majesty of that god is to revive the curse. In other words, we want to bring back the primitive endemic disease, namely the harmful strong version of the parasite. Wait a second. Those fanatics want to deny the fact that their god was actually a parasite. You're saying that they're researching the parasite. It's contradictory, isn't it? I know it is. I think that this research is a secret that only the head of the fanatics is aware of. On the outside, they look like they're praising their god, but they actually understand its true identity. They're trying to revive its supernatural power with their own hands. I get it now. God, this is getting crazier and crazier. Didn't say in the scrapbooks, but I'm suspicious of the clinic the manager owns. The Irie clinic? Why? Facility is too big and fancy for Himizawa. Mio-san was working there. The manager might have been a bacteriologist the Sonozaki family recruited. Can't be. I think Mio-san was murdered because she knew too much. The reason why the manager hasn't been murdered yet is because he's working for the fanatics in the first place. And he's researching the primitive form of the endemic disease? Hard to believe that the coach we know is capable of doing things like that. I'm sorry. It might be totally irrelevant. It's just a wild guess. Somebody is doing the research, somebody. That much is certain. And after 5 years, the research has finally been completed. The first case was the dismemberment murder by the dam construction workers. Their quarrel had turned into a lynching. They might have had the primary infectious disease, and the symptoms, the aggression and delirium might have kicked in. The victims of the second year were Satoko's parents. There were no witnesses, so the whole event is veiled in mystery. but there's a theory that someone might have pushed them over the cliff, since the fence of that observation deck that they fell from was quite sturdy. But if one of them was infected by the primitive parasite, he or she might have become violent and pushed the other over the cliff. The Shinto priest died from a disease. His wife drowned herself in the 3rd year. He might have died of shock because of a hypersensitive reaction to the infection. His wife might have gone crazy and committed suicide when one of the symptoms, delirium, kicked in. The 4th year, Satoshi Haojo's aunt was beaten to death, probably by Satoshi himself. Anybody who knew Satoshi remembers how he changed at that time. He showed signs of being both aggressive and delirious. The 5th year, for the first time in 5 years, the victim experienced the maggot disease, described in the old scroll of the Furude Shrine. The reason behind that is unclear. The stronger primitive parasite could have given its victims a delusion of maggots. This means that they finally managed to duplicate the curse of Oyashiro-sama. After 5 years of research, Omatake-san is the victim of the 5th year. He died in an extremely abnormal way. I'm the only one who understands his death because I experienced the same thing. He kept clawing at his throat to get rid of the maggots and died as a result. Well, with that explained, I finally understood the maggot disease I experienced in Ibaraki. I left Inazawa and it made the parasite in me uncomfortable. Result, I tried to resist, even though it wasn't very strong and it tried to make me homesick. My parents' divorce, I grew mentally unbalanced. I completely lost the power to resist for a period of time. The parasite was weak and harmless. My mental instability allowed it to worsen my symptoms dramatically. Result, went crazy and became violent. The delusion of Oyashiro-sama appeared to me in the bathroom was probably the terminal phase of my delirium. Created the supernatural existence, Oyashiro-sama, that I was instilled with when I was little. Then I persuaded myself to go back to Hinazawa based on that delusion. Some of the transcendents of Onagafuchi must have had the same kind of experience. They must have passed their experiences down as the acts of a god. Remember, I once saw on TV that the indigenous people in South America used some kind of natural drug in order to have a mystical experience, and that they called it a ritual to communicate with their gods. So, what the fanatics are trying to do is to spread the primitive parasites throughout Hinazawa? I think that's their goal, but I don't think they'll do that without letting people know about it. Religions need ceremonies. They created what they wanted to create, and if they decided to spread it, I think they'd name it the Day of Oyashiro-sama's Revival or something, perform some kind of ceremony. It would be in celebration of the revival of Oyashiro-sama. That's a bad thing, isn't it? I think you can say that, because they're trying to spread a very dangerous pathogen. Hey, isn't that bioterrorism? Jeez, this is very bad. They use it on Tomatake, confirming that they succeeded in duplicating the curse of Oyashiro-sama. That day of revival might be really soon. I don't know. It could happen in a few days, or it might take a year. This is way out of your league, Reina. This is a very serious conspiracy. There's nothing we alone can do to stop them. We have to report it to the police. You think they will believe us? Their choice whether to believe us or not. No matter what, we have to tell them. Ichi-kun, telling Oishi-san about all this means telling him I have the scrapbooks. Think that'd be a problem? Oishi-san came to me after Mio-san was murdered. When they killed Mio-san, they found out that our scrapbooks were missing. They also know that she met me at the library a few days ago. No way. You mean, yes, Oishi could be one of them. Possible that Oishi-san thinks I have the scrapbooks and he might be trying to find out. In fact, he looked very suspicious. It seemed to me that he didn't really tell me everything he knew. He only told me things to make me suspicious of the Sonozaki family. Could have just been trying to look like he was on my side, but he's actually their minion. Seriously, everywhere Orishi-san and Takano go, they leave disaster in their wake. The police are our only hope. Keiichi-kun, you know about the case of the fourth year, don't you? Toko-chan's aunt was murdered. I believe Satoshi did it. The police fingered a drug addict as the murderer. What do you think about that? Well, the fanatics are with the police. They fabricated the murderer? The same with the autopsy of the Shinto priest, who they claim died from disease, and the inspection at the accident site where the Haujo couple died. Police are on their side. It opens the door to many perfect crimes. 3 families have been maintaining pressure on the police. The damn conflict. You've heard from Michan that they also have considerable power over many organizations in Okonomiya, right? Yeah, I have. Not only Mion who told me that. Many people did. They told me the Sonozaki family holds influence over the whole city. That's right. Can't necessarily trust the police around here. Reina, please. I'm gonna make one thing clear before we go on. Are the Sonozaki family the masterminds behind all this? Doesn't that mean Mion is involved too? Please tell me. Don't know if Michan or Rika-chan are directly involved or not. Can say for sure, as the fanatics have the power to control the nerve centers of all the 3 families, including the most powerful family of all, Sonozaki's. Not sure if the fanatics are controlling the 3 families, or if the 3 families are the fanatics themselves. As long as we're not sure about their involvement, it's better for us to be careful, extra careful around them. That what you're saying? Yes. Not saying that I don't trust Michan. She's usually very reliable, and I'd ask her for help without any problem. But not this one. This one is a little different. Don't know if you've seen it before, but though Michan jokes around when she's with us, she can be a very cold person when she's acting as the successor of the Sonozaki family. Plus, even if she wasn't involved, it would put her in danger if we told her about this. If she was on our side, that'd be really encouraging. I think we should tell her. No, we shouldn't. We shouldn't tell her until we confirm she's not one of them. It'd be great if we could pull her to our side, but if we couldn't? So, how are we going to fight against them? Well, this is a battle we don't stand a chance of winning to begin with. That's why I didn't want to get you involved. Damn it. Kano left us a big parting gift, didn't she? Because of that, we know about the conspiracy. I believe this is her will. 2 kids challenging the mastermind who controls the village. This is going to be tough. Ordinary methods don't work. But Keiichi-kun, I'm glad to have you on my side. We can talk about it and plan things together. Of course. I've always been on your side, and I'm your friend. I know. Thank you. Very reassuring. 2 heads are better than 1. Yeah, I agree. We can come up with a plan for how we're going to fight against them together. I skipped school today because I wanted some time to read the scrapbooks again. But I'm going to school again tomorrow. I'm going to act normal. They might sense something is wrong with me if I act different. You should do the same, Keiichi-kun. Please be careful with Michan. She's sometimes very perceptive. Okay. I'll act normal as if I know nothing. But damn, I'm a bit scared. Huge conspiracy is right around the corner. Might already be counting down to 0. Hard to act normal knowing that. Don't think it's going to happen very soon. Like I said earlier, they really are religious fanatics. They need a religious ceremony. They need the help of the whole village to hold something like that. Can't think of any event other than Watanagashi. So you're saying that we have time at least until the next Watanagashi festival? Can't promise, but I just can't think of any event other than that. I think we have a year at least. I also feel that like we don't, because of how they killed Mio-san. You might not know, there might be a bigger religious event than Watanagashi. Might not be long until that day. The day of Oyashiro-sama's revival, going to spread a dangerous parasite. That day might be just around the corner. Reina. You still on the phone? Wrap it up soon, it's getting late. My father stuck his head out from the living room telling me I need to hang up soon. Thought about telling him so many times. It's natural to think that your parents will be on your side no matter what. I know just how weak he can get, so I couldn't tell him. I don't think he'd believe me anyway. Even if I told him, he'd just tell me to call the police. Better that I don't tell him. He might get close to my father to get to me. If he didn't know anything about anything, including the scrapbooks, there'd be nothing to squeeze out of him to begin with. I'm sorry, Keiichi-kun. I have to go now. It's getting late. I'll see you at school. Okay, see you tomorrow. Careful, okay? You're not an outsider anymore. Yeah, I'll be careful. Remembered the suspicious men in the white van and felt a chill run through my spine. They looked like villagers, but they weren't. They had the village accent. They were just pretending. Okay, I think the family dog is just snoring. I was hearing it. That I was like, what? Yep. Snoring. Snoring very loudly. Reina is right. Just suspicious of her. They're not sure if she has the scrapbooks or not. It's still creepy. Reina had probably experienced the same creepiness I felt when I saw the van several times up until now. He must sense the danger more than I do. However, the fact that they weren't attacking, they were merely observing us, was disturbing. If they attacked her, we could have done something like going to the police. But all they're doing is just watching her from a distance. We can't do anything about it. Can't talk to anybody about it. He probably just wants to stay in our house all day. If she acted differently, we might take it as proof that she has the scrapbooks. You have to think about how to fight against them, without making it obvious. I told myself that there was no going back, and I put the phone down. Okay. I could step away just for minutes. Need to take a... I need to visit the little kobold room. Be right back. I'll put it on the be right back, the blah blah blah, the be right back screen. Have some music to listen to. All right, so be right back. her. Okay, back to you. The next day, Reina came to school, acting normal, like she said she would. She talked with Mion as cheerfully as she always did, and it made me wonder if the story she told me last night was a complete fabrication. That's because the story really was too ridiculously crazy to believe. This village has a very weird and rare endemic disease. Religious fanatics who want to use the disease to revive their weird cult. They've been searching the pathogen of the endemic disease so that it can spread throughout the village. Deeply influenced by Reina last night, I believed everything she said. Thinking about it with a cool mind or the bright silent sounds too crazy to be true. The story Reina told me is based on Takano-san's crazy hand-me-down ideas. Based entirely on her theories, which, though very feasible, have no evidence whatsoever. The fact that Takano-san was murdered lends credit to the story, I'll give you that, but... I looked at Mion, who's fooling around with Reina. Hard to believe that she's involved with some crazy conspiracy. Hey, are you listening, Kei-chan? What? Oh, I'm sorry. Wasn't paying attention. Ha! Wake up, sleepyhead. You need to get enough sleep or your brain stops working. Mion made fun of me for reacting too slowly. Almost impossible to not to trust this bubbly, cheerful girl. I trust Mion. I trust my friends. I know she'd never have a hand in a crazy conspiracy like that. If she knew about it, she wouldn't be able to act this cheerfully. Reina told me not to tell Mion because she might be one of them. Might be worth telling her without letting Reina know. Of course, there's at least a 1% chance that the conspiracy is true and that Mion is one of them. If so, I'd be doomed. If I had to choose between believing the crazy conspiracy, trusting my friends, my answer would be obvious. I know that my friend, Mion, isn't a part of any conspiracy. She'd never be involved with something like that. Even if the conspiracy exists, I'm sure Mion will be on our side. And whether or not it's true, it must be worth telling Mion about it. What's going on, Kei-chan? They called me out here. He's gonna tell her, but Reina's gonna catch him telling Mion. Something like that. Why'd you call me out here? Told me not to tell anybody. You're not going to extort money from me, are you? That the first thing you think of when you're called out to the gymnasium storeroom? Oh, I know. You want to give me a love letter, don't you? People usually use the shoe locker for that, you know? You don't really do that in the city. A lot of guys hand over their love letters in person. Really? Oh, wait. You're, kidding me? That's not what I called you here. I have to talk about something very important. I want you to listen without making fun of me. What is it? You know, I feel like it could have changed the segue a little bit more delicately. After, like, we're going, wait, is it going to... Oh. Okay. Denied. Poor Mion. Can I... Done. Okay, it's been a while. Hold on. Hey. There you go, Mion. It's okay. 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 Not that. No. Wait, how do I remove this from screen now? Oh no. There we go, just do that. This still works, right? Okay, yes. Alright. I know, all that was totally worth it. Do you know there are people who want to revive Cult of Oyashiro-sama? Huh? What are you talking about? Of course, was just my way of getting a feel for the situation. I wanted to see how she was going to react by getting straight to the point. Mion really did look puzzled. People wouldn't normally react like this if someone pointed out their secrets out of the blue. They always panic, if only just a little. Whether Mion was a brilliant actress or she really didn't have anything to do with the idea of reviving Oyashiro-sama. I had to tell her everything. Mion, your family, the Sonosaki family, has a lot of influence in this region, including Hinuizawa, right? I think there's a possibility that they're working to revive the cult of Oyashiro-sama behind the scenes. Revive? Why? Well, you know, people today don't worship Oyashiro-sama like they did in the old days. But people like fundamentalists might be trying to make people worship Oyashiro-sama in the same way as the people of Onagafuchi did. What? Wait a second. No idea what you're talking about. Sure? You really have no idea what I'm talking about? Of course I don't. Sounds like one of those popular novels that sold 5 million copies over in America. Damn, game, you're throwing some shade, but honestly, it's true. That's a fair. And make several movies about. Anyway. It's its own book section in half-price books for a while. And a number of History Channel specials. And anyway, Mion's reaction was very natural. It seemed impossible that she was pretending she didn't know anything about it. Regardless, I continued. Well, there are people like that in this village for real. You know anything about them? You're saying that those people want to make us Oyashiro... want to worship... that. Want us to make... You're saying that those people want to make us worship Oyashiro-sama like the people of Onagafuchi did. What will that do? Oh, I think it means a lot to people who really believe. But think about it, Kei-chan. Be happy to live under those strict ancient rules. In this day and age, it's almost impossible to live without leaving the village. For example, think about Rika-chan. The old people say she's a reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama, right? Most people might be religious fanatics and... Talking about old man Kimiyoshi? Well, I know he's a deeply religious man for sure, but he isn't a fanatic. Really are people who are trying to revive the cult of Oyashiro-sama. Okay, I believe you for now, because I want to hear the rest. Go on. They found out that the curse of Oyashiro-sama was just an endemic disease unique to this village, so now they're researching the pathogen. Where? First of, what's an endemic disease? The pathogen. They sound gross. Getting confused. Didn't know what I was talking about myself anymore. Deeply influenced by Rana last night. Believed everything she said. Having said it all out, I started realizing how impossible the story sounded. What's going on with you? Mio-san tell you all this? What did you know? She's infamous for this kind of thing. She's an occult maniac. She's always makes up crazy stories. You people have gotten badly taken in by her before. She told me some of her stories once, and I remembered they were actually very interesting. Is that true? I think you heard about this once or twice before. This village had a unique culture back in the old days. It did a lot of oppressive things, like having very strict rules, very strict punishments, a bunch of other cruel traditions. They're well known among occult maniacs. Mio-san is one of them. The story I heard about the weird parasite that controls the village was... What? Parasite? That a new story she came up with? What do you mean, new story? I told you, Mio-san is an occult maniac. He studies the weird legends surrounding Onagafuchi and enjoys making up hypotheses, theories, and wild stories about him. He's created a lot of different ones aside from that theory that parasites are controlling the village. One I heard an awful while back was about UFOs. That one was interesting since it connected a lot of different dots. The story was about a UFO that crashed into Onagafuchi Swamp long ago. The alien that was in the UFO and the villagers had a battle. Something like that. Like one of those sci-fi horror B-movies. One Satoko heard was a theory about creatures from the bottom of the ocean. Movement in the Earth's crust opened up a connection between the underwater world and Onagafuchi, and the princess of the underworld fell in love with a young man in the village, like a sci-fi version of Romeo and Juliet. The story about the parasites you heard must have been a new one. Hope she makes of all of them into a book one day. Mion began laughing so hard that she had to hold her stomach. Look at her laughing like that, I realized I fell for something that ridiculous. At that point, it was obvious. I had been completely taken in. I'm sorry, Mion. Please answer my questions. First, do the fanatics who are trying to revive the cult of Oishiro-sama exist? No, they don't. I mean, it's totally the opposite. 3 families have agreed to open Hinamizawa to outsiders in order to make this village thrive. I'm not supposed to tell anyone about this. There's a project to build a new highway by the end of the 20th century. Konozaki family is promoting its construction without informing the villagers. If all goes well, the whole area will flourish. My grandma is betting she'll make a fortune when it causes land prices in the region to skyrocket. Well, most of the work will happen in the 21st century, so I'll likely end up taking over the project. Don't think there are people who hate outsiders? I told you, there are no such people. Makes you think we want to make this village more inconvenient than it already is. In fact, we've already started selling the land of the village to rich people who want to build countryside residences here. She's talking about you. Your house is on the first lot we sold, Kei-chan. Didn't the villagers welcome you? 3 families are trying to do everything they can to stop young people from leaving the village. There was nothing vague about what Mion had said. The story makes a lot more sense than Takano's delusional theories. Though Mion's words woke me up from that delusion. But what about this? I heard that the residents of Hinamizawa have currently high levels of something in their blood. It proves they're infected by parasites. Really? How did Mio-san figure that out? Kano-san is a nurse, I'm sure she can do that. You think anyone would give her blood samples for no reason? Because I sure don't. And if she could get blood samples somehow, how and where would she examine them? How many blood samples do you think she examined all by herself? Mion was right. I didn't believe I thought Takano could do all that just because she was a nurse. It struck me hard to believe that she got that many blood samples and did a high-level examination like that without any help. When I thought about it rationally, she just not believe such a ridiculous story so easily. I heard that people here don't get hay fever. Just proof that they're being infected by the parasite. Only people in cities get hay fever. I heard it has something to do with fuel emissions. Hey, John, you're talking about Hinamizawa. I mean, even people in Okonomiya don't get hay fever, I think. Well, what about this? I thought the Sonozaki family has a death squad and they kidnapped the grandson of a government minister once. That sounds cool. I wish I had a squad like that. Even I was sounding ridiculous. But I believed all of it last night. I believed it because Reino looked very serious. To be fair, the Death Squad one probably is somewhat... only a bit of an exaggeration. But, the kidnapping did take place. It's true that the grandson of a minister was found in Takatsudo. He didn't do it. He just acted as we did. What do you mean? Please explain. Okay. The Onagafuji Guardians protested violently during the dam conflict. They did something close to terrorism as well. There are people who use the resistance movement for their own benefits. They use the name of the Onagafuji Guardians to rob people of money and valuables. The Onagafuji Guardians were a very aggressive force at the time. There's a high possibility that some people thought they could use the name to extort money. The kidnapping case was one of those incidents. Kidnappers thought they could stifle the police investigation by acting like they were the Onagafuji Guardians. They kidnapped the boy to demand a ransom. To tell you the truth, the members of the Onagafuji Guardians were all very surprised. They were actually impressed that those guys actually pulled it off. Remember, they even said they'd give them an award. Wait a second. The Onagafuji Guardians had nothing to do with the kidnapping? That could make sense. No, not at all. Mion said it firmly. It was a simple and clear answer which left no room for suspicion. And thinking about it, it's nothing surprising. Kidnapping the grandson of a minister and negotiating with him in person is a huge deal. The Onagafuji Guardians are a very aggressive group. This operation wasn't so easy that it should be carried out by any of the normal residents of Hinamizawa. It was obviously the work of professional criminals without a doubt. Like I said earlier, the Sonozaki family acted as if they were the masterminds of the kidnapping case. What do you mean by that? This is a secret precept of the Sonozaki family. Can't tell anybody about this, okay? When an incident like this happens, we traditionally act as if we're responsible for it. The tradition of bluffing. Bluffing? Really? Yeah. Doesn't matter what it is as long as it works out in our favor. Be a criminal incident, weather, or even lottery numbers. We act as if it happened because the Sonozaki family wanted it to happen. It starts to sound like we're a very powerful organization. Honestly, gotta believe a good chunk of that. I mean, they're probably a bit more powerful than they let on, but there's a lot of stuff where it's kind of like, yeah, pretend. That would actually explain stuff a lot for you, honestly. Starts to sound like we're a very powerful organization, doesn't it? That's the point. The secret strategy that only the Sonozaki family heads know about. This strategy is meant to make us look bigger and stronger than we really are. They probably do have like a good amount of influence and stuff like that, but like there's some underworld stuff just because of like the Mion's dad have Yakuza ties or whatever, but that would probably be the most at most. Which, depending on the outfit, couldn't be like wouldn't have as much as you would think it would. So, in terms of local power, probably a good amount, but not as much as that. Wow. So, what about the plan they had during the dam conflict? One to attack the Ministry of Construction. That true? Not that they obtained weapons and even trained for it. That was the spin we put on it. There's no way we could actually carry out a crazy plan like that. Real goal was to make people believe that we were capable of doing things like that. Put exact pressure on the government. That's all. That makes sense. Obtained weapons and went through training just so they could exact pressure? We had no intention of actually carrying out the plan. The Nozaki family was just bluffing. Made sense. Of course it did. Impossible to protect the Ministry of Construction. And if they did, wouldn't solve the problem. All I had to do was use common sense. If they did, they would have been crushed within seconds by a huge number of policemen. Why didn't I think of that? What about the weapons and the training? As for the weapons, no comment. We did go through training. We need to do that in order to make the bluff look real. We gathered some younger men from my father's office and appointed Kasai as leader of the group. We went to a desert in Texas, played war games with some instructors, and went sightseeing in San Francisco afterwards. So... I couldn't think of anything else. It's obvious now. I know Reina, and I both. Completely fooled by the scrapbooks of Takano-san's delusion. Reina was so serious about it, so I believed her. If you examine it closely, there were so many inconsistencies. I believe Reina took a delusion like that so seriously. Knew the reason why, though. She was still in a state of shock after being caught with the corpse that day. Mentally unstable. She was mentally unstable. Then she came across this tall tale and she believed it. Reina is a smart girl. I wouldn't have taken it seriously if she was stable. Plus, another thing happened to wake me up from the delusion. The white van I saw yesterday came to school during the lunch break. The 4 men in work uniforms I saw were there too. I said thank you to Mion and followed them. The man who talked to me yesterday knocked on the door of the teacher's office. Oh, from the Okanoki gardeners. Oh, thank you for coming. Very hot today, isn't it? Sure it is. By the way, very beautiful today as always. Thank you. Well, you can start wherever you're ready. Yes, I'll start right away. Account manager told me to give this to you. Quote in the invoice I see. He just left blank on both of them. Shouldn't be any problem. Thank you so much. Alright, we'll start right away. The man was talking to Chie-sensei with a big smile. What are you doing here, my Baro-kun? Oh, Principal. Who's that guy? To point his finger at the window. When I looked out, I heard the noise of an engine starting. The noise was coming from the engine of a motorized lawnmower. I saw young men in work uniforms taking another lawnmower, some brooms, and a ladder out of the van. They're gardeners. They haven't taken care of the grass around the fence and the trees for a long time. They cleaned them up before summer. Mr. Principal, thank you for giving us a call. Man noticed the principal take off his hat and bowed. No need. I trust your work. Please take care of things. I think we can finish it today. Might make a lot of noise, though. The worker took one of the tools and walked toward the fence where the grass was growing. The engine of the lawnmower is very loud, and the kids who were playing in the schoolyard looked at it curiously. Hey, dangerous out here. Go back to your classroom. Chie-sensei. He handed an envelope with the documents in it to the principal. That Okanoki gardeners in green on the envelope. Principal, please sign the invoice and drop it off at the office next time you go to the town hall. Of course, will do. Chie-sensei. They come here yesterday? Yes. They come here to look at the grass late in the afternoon. They told me they got lost on the way back because they tried to take a shortcut. The village has a lot of small roads branching off everywhere. It's been very confusing. Remember when I first came here, Chie-sensei started talking about it when she got lost and they laughed together. There was never anything suspicious to begin with. I thought they were suspicious yesterday because of what Reina had told me. First, I thought it wasn't unusual to see a white van. Then, right after I heard a creepy story, I saw a white van parked on the road and I got scared. Gardeners weren't familiar with the roads of Hinamizawa. They got lost trying to take a shortcut on their way back. That's all. I had it totally twisted around? I believe that fake-sounding story. I believe that the Sonozaki family was working behind the scenes and I fabricated the existence of a group of fanatical believers in my mind. Worse, I doubted Mion. Damn it. Such a fool. My friend. We took each other's hand that day, saying that we were a family made of friends and that friends were friends no matter what. I said that. Then I doubted my friend. I'm so stupid. Anyway, Reina was the problem. She also needed to wake up from this crazy delusion. I had to hurry and wake her up. Reina seemed like she had no mind to listen to anyone else. She truly believed that the Sonozaki family are the masterminds of a large-scale conspiracy. I remembered the place number of the white van, and I also remember their faces. And now we're back to Reina, and this is gonna be bad, isn't it? Without a doubt, this was one of the vans that have been following me. I've confirmed that 3 or 4 cars have been following me. I especially recall this white van because it followed me around the longest of all. Yep, more cars. People who were in the other cars must be lookouts. The ones in this van must be tasked with direct contact, like kidnapping or assassination. The lookouts secure the surroundings, and the one in this van attack the target. That's a common maneuver involved in both kidnapping and assassination. Scrapbook said that too. If so, I better watch out because it was them, not the lookouts, who came to the school premises. Don't think they'll attack me when I'm in school. They're in the early stage of the covert operation now, hiding their fangs and claws until the last stage of their horrifying scheme. That's why they won't take action in the school where people are watching. It looked like they weren't talking with Chie-sensei in a very friendly way. But it looked like they were talking with Chie-sensei in a very friendly way. I could only hear bits and pieces of their conversation, but it sounded very suspicious. I tried to remember the chatter and the movements in their mouths, and I played my memory of it like a videotape in my mind. Hello. Thank you for coming. Very hot today, isn't it? Sure is. Thank you. Well, you can start whenever you're ready. Yes, we'll start right away. My account manager told me to give this to you. See. It says left blank on. There shouldn't be any problem. Thank you so much. Alright, well... I used the information I had to guess what was going on. I played the video again and again in my mind and also checked it and played it in slow motion again to check many times. Then, something unbelievably horrifying started to emerge. There's no doubt they're acquainted with Chie-sensei. I've never seen them visit the school before, so it's hard to believe that Chie-sensei is their contact. No doubt that they're the Death Squad, under the direct control of the Sonozaki family. They have the local accent, which proves they were chosen from the Sonozaki Corps. The Death Squad was talking with Chie-sensei. They know each other. Their relationship. Who's Chie-sensei anyway? The dam conflict. Miyazawa's school were closed and it was merged with the one in Okinomiya. But the Onagafuji Guardians didn't accept that, and they made a part of the Forestry Service building into a school. Needless to say, the school they made didn't have a teacher. It was only going to be a token form of resistance. But a teacher who made a strong passion for education felt sorry for the children. She came to work there. That was Rumiko Chie-sensei. It's obviously strange. Teachers are government employees and they normally belong to their prefectures. As long as they lie low and don't cause trouble, they don't get fired and they don't get demoted. They can work up until the official retirement age, and they're guaranteed to get a fixed retirement fund. She was one of those government employees. She defied the Board of Education and came to work for Hinamizawa. The villagers admire her as a teacher of passion. I heard that Aryo Sonozaki herself successfully negotiated with the Board of Education that suspended Chie-sensei for defying their orders. It's easy to get an answer from this by connecting the dots. Chie-sensei was recruited by Aryo Sonozaki as a teacher to work at the school the Onagafuji Guardians had created. In other words, she was already working for Aryo before she came here. As for the principal, he was the principal of the school in Hinamizawa from the beginning. He's a respected person in this region, and he's been closely associated with the three families for a long time. What that means, this school has been under the control of the Sonozaki family all along. That's why Chie-sensei is acquainted with the Death Squad. Makes sense now. Chie-sensei confirmed that I came to school today, made a phone call, called them here? I don't know want to know why she called them here. Called them just to monitor me. They'd wait near the gates until class was over. But they came onto the school premises. Why? Stop pretending to be a fool, Reina Ryugu. You think nothing will happen if you pretend not to notice it? Think hard and calm down, Reina Ryugu. But they tried to do me today in school. In school? Are they going to do anything with my classmates and friends around me? It's easy. Chie-sensei will tell me to come to the teacher's office during the last class of the day. About my clubmates. That's easy too. Chie-sensei can easily make them go home early using her authority as a teacher. She can make up any reason she wants. The classroom is going to have carpentry work done today, but they can't stay in school. It sure is you today. Thank you. Well, you can start whenever you're ready. See, there's no doubt. They said they're ready to do it today. What else? No, start right away. Account manager told me to give this to you. It's left on the... Well, there shouldn't be any problem. Thank you so much. I see. Gave Chie-sensei an envelope with some documents in it. The blank is an eerie phrase. My name's supposed to be in the blank? Left blank? What's that mean? I told you, Reina. Still think that nothing will happen to you if you pretend not to notice it? Stop that. That must mean that it's an order from higher up. It says to make Reina Ryuge become blank. Took a peek from the shadows, and I saw the principal taking documents out from the envelope. He started reading them. He looked stern. He looked very serious. I wish I could take a peek at the documents, but I was too far away. I kept looking at him just to see if he'd react at all. Then the envelope caught my eye. The envelope said Okanogi Gardeners. Had some numbers that looked like a phone number. Fortunately, I have good eyesight. Memorized the number. They're a Death Squad. The gardening company must be a camouflage occupation. Probably doesn't even exist. Went to find out. I looked for a phone. Only one phone, and it's in the teacher's office. Fortunately, teachers were chatting in the hallway, looking at the gardeners. Now or never. I made sure nobody was watching me into the teacher's office. I rushed in and grabbed the phone on the principal's desk. Went up for the phone number in my head and dialed it up. Glad they have a touch-tone phone. It would have been difficult if it was a rotary dial. When he answered, I'd only have to ask, is this the Okanogi Gardeners? Wait for the answer before hanging up. Should be easy. Connected. The number you dialed is... Let the cold chill run through my body from the bottom of my feet. Wait, I'll make a quick judgment. I remembered the phone number wrong. No, I know I remembered it right. An easy number to remember. Impossible to remember it wrong. But did I dial it wrong? Put the phone down and started over this time. I dialed the number more slowly. Teachers might be coming back any time in that situation. It was risky to do anything slowly. I needed to make absolutely sure. You dialed is... same. No doubt. Company Okanogi Gardeners doesn't exist. Just a camouflage occupation for the Sonozaki family's Death Squad. Please make sure the number you dialed is correct. Numbers you dialed is... Too stunned to put down the receiver. The announcement kept running over and over. The voice was cold and creepy. I hung up the phone and rushed out of the teacher's office. I ran to the bathroom and held my head in an attempt to cool down. Calm down, Reina. Calm down, Reina. Stay cool. Reina Ryugu. It's safe here anymore. If I stayed here, I might be erased, even in the open. Erase me? Why? You aren't certain that I have the scrapbooks. I told Keiichi-kun where I hid the scrapbooks. Yesterday I told him I hid in my hideout. The garbage dump. It's Keiichi-kun. in cahoots with the Sonosaki family? I felt as if my head was a pot that was cooking some dubious stew. There was only soap in my brain. I cut up clues, information, and vegetables just like I'd cut vegetables and threw them into the pot. Some of them were floating on the surface, and others were in the bottom of the pot. They were being cooked in a boiling soup. No, can't be. Keiichi-kun is on my side. He's the only one who's on my side. He held out his hand to me at the trash piles. There's no lie in that hand. He grabbed my wrist. I felt nothing but his strong and pure heart. He promised he'd be on my side. I shouldn't doubt Keiichi-kun. He's the only one I should trust. He's the one who is on my side right now. I'm sorry, Keiichi-kun. I'm about to doubt you. Really sorry. So sorry. Not on purpose, full of regret that I doubted Keiichi-kun, the one who was on my side. She's gonna see him talking to Mion. Think about it. Whether I buy the scrapbooks or not, it might not matter to them. Erase anybody who was suspicious. That's the safest way. That mean they're in a hurry? The day of Oyashiro-sama's revival might be just around the corner. That's why they're trying to get rid of any small fish bones that are stuck in the throat. By any means before it's too late. Don't need her anymore. Just erase her if you're worried so much. Easily picture Aryo Sonosaki saying that. Picture. No, she did say that. That's why they're here today. What should I do? What should I do? Should I wait until school is over? I was like a fish in a pond. Very many times I escaped from the net. I was in the pond. And they owned the pond. I didn't stand a chance. And what should I do? I couldn't keep escaping from the net. I should get out of the pond. I didn't know how to fight them. I didn't know who's on my side. I was about to give in to despair. For now, I'd have to think about how to survive this. So I'd at least have time to think about how to fight against them. I have to get out of this pond. I was about to leave the bathroom. One of my classmates came in. I pretended to be sick and talked to the girl while leaning on the wall. I don't feel good. I think I better go home. Can you tell Chie-sensei I left school early? I shouldn't let Chie-sensei know I'm leaving school early if I'm trying to run away from them. But if I didn't, they might think I ran away without cause. It might lead them to chase after me without mercy. If that happens, I won't stand a chance. Planning to capture me after school is over. I happened to feel sick and left school early. They took it that way. They wouldn't think that I had noticed the noose tightening around me. I was about to go back to the classroom to get my bag, but I changed my mind and turned around. I don't need my bag anymore. I realized nobody was watching me. I stopped pretending to be sick and started running. Chie-sensei, take a look at this. Take a look? Something wrong with the documents? Yeah. Date on the quote and the invoice are left blank. You're supposed to put today's date here. Oh, they wanted to leave them blank. Said they couldn't put the same date on the quote and the invoice. They're told to leave them blank by General Affairs. Okay then. The phone number on the invoice is different from the one on the envelope. You know which is the correct one? Oh, I didn't notice that. Well, excuse me. Yeah? What's the matter? Phone number on the invoice is different from the one on the envelope. Which one is correct? Oh. The one on the invoice. I used the old envelope we used to use at our former office. I'm sorry about that. Told our part-timer to add a stamp with the new phone number. I guess she forgot. I apologize for the confusion. Can you just erase the number? You have received new tips. Lunch takeout, list 3. Okay, so she didn't run into... Okay. Keep on expecting that to happen. The danger of a culture-bound syndrome lies in the fact that it can easily trigger delusional misidentification syndrome. That is to say, current case, every time the patient sees something trivial, and tries to interpret it as a curse. And it's believed that as a result of the accumulation of these events in an understandable form, a delusional system is created, ultimately leading to paranoia. Furthermore, the patient is also exhibiting slight signs of a personality disorder. Of course, at a very mild level, not causing any hindrance whatsoever to the patient's daily life. Common for even healthy individuals to have primary delusions in their daily lives. They usually ignore it automatically without recognition, since those delusions are nonsensical. However, there are cases where their delusions accumulate despite being incomprehensible. Largely depends on the particular characteristics of the individual. It's believed that the patient shows relatively strong characteristics in this area. I believe you're very much aware that primary delusions are categorized into 3 different kinds. Delusional mood is the feeling of impending crisis without basis. Delusional intuition is the feeling of a sense of duty or goal without basis. Delusional perception is the feeling of a baseless cause against a baseless target. The patient's case believe that these incomprehensible delusions accumulated, acted out simultaneously with the culture-bound syndrome, which triggered a delusional misidentification syndrome, and it ultimately caused the incomprehensible delusions to become understandable by interpreting them as a curse. The incomprehensible delusion system induces understandable secondary delusions, further strengthening the patient's delusional system with the passage of time. The delusional parasitosis mentioned earlier can be considered a secondary delusion. A common factor of all cases of paranoia that even after an outbreak, they will still appear perfectly normal with no change in their personalities. Patients are unaware of their own ailments, and due to their personal interpretations of their delusional system, there are many cases where the patients arm themselves logically, making it extremely difficult for a third party to point out they're having a delusion. Furthermore, though it may depend on the tendency of delusions, there are also cases where a persecute I can say persecution. But okay, why can I not say persecutory? I know I said it wrong, I'm sure. Turns into a pursuit delusion or a conspiracy delusion, resulting in the patient creating an imaginary enemy and taking up antisocial behavior. For example, there are cases where believers of a religious cult, deeply influenced by the cult founder's paranoid visions, which shifted the group into a conspiracy delusion that made them conduct antisocial behavior in the name of self-defense. Though no more cases have been reported to Japan yet, it could very well happen in the near future. Fortunately, the patient hasn't reached that serious condition as of now. Proper treatment should be able to make a full recovery. Please make sure their fossil understands this is not an unusual case, something caused by the accumulation of a number of innocent factors that anyone could have. The patient can be treated only by deepening her bond with her father. As long as she has that bond, she can certainly be treated. For the reasons above, the patient is to return to her home village. I strongly recommend that the patient continue to receive guidance from specialized medical institutions, which I'm guessing were not followed up at all. Please excuse me for writing such a long letter. Thank you for reading this until the very end. Chapter 9. End of Chapter 9. Which actually may mean... How many chapters are in the... Sub-chapters, I should... How many... Sub... Okay. This one is... I forget. Tsumihoroboshi, whatever. "13 in Tsumihoroboshi." And then okay. We probably got 2 streams less of it. Left, I believe. Okay. Okay, that's gonna be... my voice is doing enough. Saying, yeah, that's enough now. That's enough of that. But anyway. And going... Okay. 3 hours, that's... Okay for right. Oh yeah, for anyone that's watching from YouTube, very much for... Enjoyed it. Wait for the next time.
Can I put my balls in your jar? Balls in your jar. Can I put my balls in your jar? Balls in your jar.
Can I? Okay. Thank you, Tao Queshy. That's gonna be left on for the folks at YouTube. Now, for those watching back. Ay vey.